Okay, San Francisco is not doing well at all. In fact, so many companies are leaving to the point that commercial real estate in the city is pretty much worthless. Now, if you chart commercial real estate right now in San Francisco, the prices are so low, it's actually scary. And in fact, you can actually cop some of these buildings for at least 35 to 40% off, and some people are going for 50 to 80% off. If you look at the transactions and that value versus the value like 4 or 5 years ago, it is extremely low. Like, for example, this apartment building here with ground floor retail, it looks really, really good. This whole entire building is actually pretty big. And if it's in New York City, if this building is in Hong Kong, if this building is in Singapore, no way in hell that the starting bid is only $400,000. And I guarantee you, not even that many people are bidding for it because even residential properties are so low. And this is kind of thanks to the high crime, the massive open air drug markets, and also what everyone is saying is the city just simply doesn't care, with so many small business owners not even bothering to complain. They're just straight up moving out because they know complaining won't do anything in the city, because the city won't do anything for you. There's drugs everywhere in the city. It's absolutely crazy. And even Chinese tourists are actually warned to avoid San Francisco because of how dangerous this place is, despite being a massive Asian culture hub. Now check this out. San Francisco has lost another 5 million square feet of office during just the past 3 months. And the amount of new people signing new leases is at an all-time low. 5 million square feet is massive. This is pretty much like 10 to 15 mid-sized billion-dollar companies moving out. And just Skills, for example, a gaming company, they quietly packed up and they moved out so fast before anyone even noticed. And Skills right now is in Las Vegas within just a month, and they rented like a 40 to 50,000 square feet office. So San Francisco just lost, for example, Skills, this massive gaming company that was recently in San Francisco. Uber is also trying to sublease their 250,000 square feet office. They're downgrading and they do not want to re-sign the lease. We're also seeing even more companies that have already signed these leases, but these leases don't expire until like the next few months or the next year or two. But these office spaces are vacant despite being leased out. And this is actually causing a lot of scary stuff happening in San Francisco. This pretty much means that companies will rather lose that money. Okay, they would rather not stay in San Francisco. They would rather go somewhere else. All right, they're willing to pay that lease and move out. That just shows you how bad the city is. No employee and no CEO is willing to put up with the crime rate of San Francisco. And no matter how cheap these guys try to sublease their offices, nobody wants it. Okay, not a single person wants it. And sure, you may have seen those articles about how AI is bringing employees back. I mean, I'll give it to, they're bringing back like 1,000 to 2,000 employees, but there's like 5,000 to 6,000 employees leaving at any given time. A lot of people working online, they're working remote. If you ask all the guys working remote in San Francisco, they all say the same thing. They're going to move out of the city within the next few weeks when their lease ends. A lot of people working online are not going to San Francisco. There's high crime everywhere, and plus all the cool shops are already closing. Whole Foods is no longer available, guys. Nordstrom is no longer available. San Francisco's biggest mall has closed. Even if you have money, you can't even find places to shop in San Francisco because it's so empty. So many stores are leaving. And guess what? More and more office space is going to be vacant. Vacancies are 33 to 35%. But if you really look into the windows, it's more like 50, 60%. Because most of the guys' leases haven't ended yet. Now, Airbnb is another big thing because if you look at a San Francisco standard, reported that data from AirDNA found that night stayed and vacation rentals in San Francisco were down 29% in May 2013 compared to May 2019. Now, if you look at most cities, Airbnbs typically aren't really doing so great because of the oversaturation. But despite the oversaturation, you don't really see being down 29 freaking percent. That's a very, very high number. If you go to most cities, decently vacation cities, vacancies aren't as high as everyone expects. But now vacancies are 29%. Okay, these rentals are down bad. Not to mention certain rentals like the older buildings have even higher vacancies. In fact, a lot of the people who invested in San Francisco Airbnbs are trying to sell their apartments or houses back on the market, but nobody wants it. If you go to Zillow, there's barely any buyers left. Most of the buyers are offering very cheap prices. Like for example, this, 4 bed, 3 bath, $1 million. This was easily a $2 million property on the peak. If you check this out, this very, very nice condo for sale, $1.2 million in a pretty good location. This was easily like a $1.5 million condo. And you can see a lot of these prices are dropping, and we have even fatter price cuts. Like for example, this unit, okay? I've never seen a 2 bed, 2 bath in San Francisco cheaper than this. And for example, this one, this townhouse, look at how affordable this is. You got whole houses, okay, at the marina, $5.2 million. May sound expensive, but this was easily closer to a $10 million property during the peak. You get the idea. Prices have fallen a lot, and even though they've fallen, nobody wants to buy it. Because people who tour San Francisco to buy a house, they suddenly see all this craziness. There's homeless people everywhere, crack everywhere, drugs everywhere. It's not really a place that's sustainable. People don't really want to live in these type of situations, so they tend to leave. And if you check some of this out, San Francisco exodus continues. Century-old boutique becomes latest business to close in crime-ridden city. Guys, this is actually like a hat company, founded in 1895, and they have now also fully closed down. Guys, there's every single day there's shops closing down, but most of these stores do not make it on mainstream media, only the most iconic ones. So you may see articles like these and might think, oh, only one shop closed down. But before this article even come out, there were already a few hundred shops closing. Okay, there's small mom and pop stores, there's florists closing their shops, there's even small dental areas closing their shops, restaurants are leaving, cafes are leaving, and nobody's talking about them, right? And what I'm saying here is, every single time we see these articles about businesses moving out of San Francisco, before that article even comes out, there's already a couple hundred stores already closed. And a lot of these stores are closing at a massive rate. I mean, check out how empty this is, right? People are actually going to Westfield Mall, and they're actually seeing the emptiness of the streets. Even a lot of foreign bloggers, they're actually going to San Francisco to see how empty the streets are. There's actually, what some people say, there's more homeless individuals on the streets than regular everyday working people. And the numbers are dwindling every single day. The streets are getting more and more empty. And we're not even talking about the bad part of San Francisco, guys. We're talking about the good part of San Francisco, the part where everyone calls it's a tourist trap, the part where everyone works. It's super empty. Cafes complain that the daily foot traffic from office workers is so low that they can't keep businesses open. And then they get robbed every once in a while, so money is super low. The state doesn't care, and their taxes are super high in San Francisco. And who's willing to do all that when you don't get any business? Now, if you get fat business, that's a whole different story. Okay, some might put up with it, but if you don't get any business, you're putting up all this craziness, it's time to leave. I mean, check this out. San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge is the latest doom loop. Pandemic tolls are down 30%. Not even a lot of people are going to San Francisco for business. Most of the businesses have left, so these people don't have to cross the bridge. And then second, it's not even a great place to really hang out anymore, right? People just want to leave. A lot of students and, UCSF and other colleges in San Francisco, they're really turned off by it, with the majority of them actually leaving San Francisco the moment they graduate. They're totally sick of this crazy environment. And let's just see if San Francisco can really fix itself. This is by far one of the best cities in the U.S., guys. The location's great, the weather's great, the culture's great, the startup scene's amazing, but not anymore. And if they fix it, that would be great. And I hope they fix it. Let's see what happens in San Francisco in the next couple of years.